So many sweepstakes, so little time. The Roki Sasaki sweepstakes are heating up, and even though it felt like it was a foregone conclusion, the Japanese sensation was signed with the Dodgers. A new report from Jeff Passan puts the Mets in the mix. Dang, Jeff, don't give us hope. We're going to talk about that on this edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here with you, rocking with you on this beautiful day. This offseason, the hot stove is heating up, and it seems Mets news and notes are coming out of nowhere. Just a couple days' time, we signed Montas, we signed Clay Holmes, and pretty more are in the offing. So you want to put yourself in the position to know when things drop. Do that by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button. Don't be a part of that 78.6% of people who watch the content and don't subscribe. Make sure you become a member of the Mets Digest family. Okay, so enough of the housekeeping. Let's get into it. Roki Sasaki is really much an enigma here when it comes down to the hot stove. Yeah, there are bigger free agents. We talked about Juan Soto ad nauseum there, but Sasaki, with his youth, being able to come over by the posting system at his age can really open up a frenzy we have never seen. The reason being, because he's under the age of 25, he kind of goes into the international pool where there are more rules and regulations and strict limits of what you can do. That said, because of the Dodgers' history with Japanese players, because of the Dodgers' culture of winning, and because of having a little bit of a presence and being close to the Pacific coast, or being on the Pacific coast, being close to Japan, it looked like they were far and away the favorite to sign Sasaki if he was going to be posted. Also, even though there was going to be a possibility, a slight one at that, of Sasaki being available or being signed this year in 2024, all signs are pointing towards the January posting period, which puts more teams in play. Despite that, it seemed it was going to be the Dodgers far and away, with a slight, maybe a small minority going for the Padres. But this report here from Jeff Passan that was released on Saturday, December 7th, so about 6 hours from the time I record this, really puts more teams in play. And of those teams are us, the Metropolitans, the orange and blue. Jeff writes, the Los Angeles Dodgers have long been linked to Sasaki. Yeah, you think, bro? And will remain so, with the Samurai Japan teammates Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto integral parts of the 2024 World Series winning team. He means World Baseball Classic as well, because the Japanese team did also beat the American team, even though I don't think Yamamoto was on that team. Him joining them is no fait accompli. Among other teams expected to be significant players in Sasaki sweepstakes, the San Diego Padres makes sense, the Chicago Cubs makes sense, Texas Rangers, question mark, New York Mets, huh? And the San Francisco Giants kinda almost makes sense. Let's bring this list up here. So again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an insider, I'm just a guy on the internet, just like you. Sort of, but some of these teams are kind of a question marks. I understand the Dodgers. Again, pedigree of winning. They have Shohei Ohtani on the team. It's the big boat, the 900-pound gorilla. The San Diego Padres. I understand. Big market, willing to spend even despite the financial situations. Yu Darvish is trying to build a bit of a Japanese super team. Okay, yeah, Chicago Cubs, they had a presence in Japan back in the day. In fact, the Japan series is happening with the Cubs next season. Mike Imanaga is already there. I get that. San Francisco, West Coast team, wasn't on my radar, but I guess that makes sense. But the New York Mets, man, and I understand that everyone's pretty much going to put anyone that wants to drive the price up of someone with the New York Mets. But like I said before, this is a different situation altogether because of that international status that Sasaki takes. There really isn't much difference with how much teams can possibly give Roy Sasaki if they really wanted to sign him. In fact, The Athletic, if you have a chance to check out The Athletic, goes down the line about the different tiers that are available to give someone like Sasaki when it comes down to signing them. Like, it really is in three different tiers. I think there's one quote of 7.5 million. That would include teams like the Tigers, the Marlins, and Brewers. 6.9 million. That includes teams like the Orioles, the Guardians, and then that lowest tier, that 6.261 million tier, would also include the teams like the Mets and the Blue Jays. Basically, you take a bit of a hit, or you have a bit of a cut or penalty on the amount you're able to spend with anyone in the international pool based on a lot of factors, but most namely and most chiefly for us, it's those payroll taxes or those payroll cautions, that those thresholds we hit. So we have the least amount of money to pay, but the least amount being 6.2 million and the most being 7.5 really isn't that much of a change. And because of that, really comes down to what Sasaki wants to do. In fact, over there at The Athletic, they actually go into detail of what that means about the actual vibe of the team for Sasaki. It says this comes from Will Salmon and Ken Rosenthal over at The Athletic. In particular, the Dodgers have been heavily linked to Sasaki. Rumors of some kind of unwritten agreement between the pitcher and the club prompted Commissioner Rob Manfred to speak out about the topic last month at the owner meetings. Of course, if you're going to wait to January, more teams are going to be in play. Manfred said he expected Sasaki not to sign until after the new year. Sasaki will likely prioritize stability, lifestyle, comfort, and according to league sources, a team's track record with player development. Oh, the Angels are out. Haha, snap. Okay, so I think that player development line is super important. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. Because if you think you're a young pitcher and you know you want to have a long track record in the major leagues, even though the Dodgers will always be an option, not discounting the presence for the Dodgers, not even discounting the Padres. If you think about what we've done as far as how our pitching development used to be a gross liability, and over the past few seasons has actually been an asset, something to be on a calling card. Again, this mysterious pitching lab of the pitching staff, the reclamation projects I worked out for them. I think this may be the start of putting the Mets in the same conversation as the Dodgers and the Padres. Is it a done deal? No. I'm actually reading between the lines. I'll be the first one to admit that to you. But that player development and track record, if there's any team that's trending upward with a dedicated goal of being a sustainable, top-tier, world-class organization, it's Queens. And because of that, I don't think you can really discount what we're trying to do. And if you want to be honest with you, I would probably put that on my shopping list as well. SNY TV actually goes into more detail how that could be regarded for the young player. Because he's still just 23 years old, Sasaki qualifies as an international amateur free agent. We were discussing that a minute ago. His contract will be pretty limited, plus a bonus related to the size of each team's international signing pool. Still, the righty is widely regarded as one of the most talented pitchers in the world, which tells me that he's not going to be in the minor leagues for long. That's what Shohei did when he signed with the Angels. He was a minor league player until he wasn't. So there's figures to be plenty of competition for his services. Sasaki missed some time last season due to a torn oblique and right arm soreness, but he still pitched to a terrific 2.35 ERA and a 103 WHIP while striking out 129 batters and walking just 32 across his 18 outings with the Marines. Okay, so yes, there's some question marks there about the health. There's some question mark there about the transition from the MPB to the MLB. Anyone that signs him is going to put him on a protracted development or even a shortened development, depending on, I guess, how you would treat it. But I would definitely put them in the main rotation in the first season. But they definitely have some care. I do think the Mets also have experience with that, with Kodai Senga getting him acclimated to the proceedings, as the Dodgers do as well. So again, the more I think about this, here is someone that has flashes of brilliance, but has a little bit of an injury history. And here is somebody that's willing to sign with a team with good player development. It'd be kind of hard not to put us in the equation. Again, not saying the Dodgers are not going to sign him, but even though Buster Olney had said in a report earlier this week, the Dodgers were pretty much a done deal sign, Passan disagrees, opening up two more individuals, more teams in the mix. It is, in theory, a 30-team dash. If Sasaki waits till January to look to see who would want to suit him, 30 teams can qualify because the international pool money is a little pittance for a lot of these teams, especially the high-spending A's this week. I mean, shout out to Luis Severino. But does that mean that we're also going to be in the mix? David Stearns did go and see some of the games out in September of this year. Maybe we shouldn't discount what Queens is doing for the next season. Let me know what you think, though. Maybe I'm just a little bit off my rocker, but I do think that this should really be the start of putting us in the conversation. Let me know in the comments below. Positive, negative. I want to hear it all about that. Roki Sasaki, it could be or will be a huge deal for Major League Baseball. How cool would it be if he was in orange and blue pinstripes? That does it for me. Until next time, shout out to the Rumble Ponies. Shout out to you guys for checking it out. And of course, as always, until next time, it's LGM to the bitter end.